Guys, welcome back to another incredible podcast or modcast. Guys, can you believe this is 3.0?
Coined the phrase right there.
Yeah.
I gotta start it now.
It's an honor for me, dude. You know that when I first, before I even got started in solar, they onboarded me, and the first training they sent me was the one that you did at Solar Cheat Code. And in that video, you were in an orange shirt. Today, you're wearing a green shirt. So I wanted to talk about that. Where'd you get back from last night, Mud?
Dude, that's the shirt right there. So Ireland, I was there last night. You heard me talk about generational wealth. I got to experience having 26 of my family members, my 2 sons, my daughter, my brand new granddaughter, she's 9 months old, and my wife. And then I'm the oldest of 7. 6 of us were there with our families. So there were 26 of us in this little tiny town called Bunbeg, Ireland, in Donegal. That's the northwest part of Ireland. I think we doubled the population of O'Donnells, which has a lot of O'Donnells in that corner of Ireland. So we were there, met our cousins and second cousins and third cousins, and just got to really experience connecting intergenerationally and, you know, talking about being able to do things because of this opportunity that solar brings us. I love to think about something that motivates me, and I talk about it a lot, called generational wealth. And the idea that, you know, me being in Ireland and being able to say yes to doing something like that because I'm not afraid and I have the money to do, it's not a giant amount of money, but, you know, it would be easy to be in a situation where like, oh, I couldn't pull that off or say no to that, but I was able to say yes to it and make that happen and be in Ireland with all these people named O'Donnell that most of which I got to meet 24 years ago, but I've been thinking for 24 years I want to go back. And so we set the time. That's the tough part right now, that the scarcity now is time. So set the time, 10 days in Ireland with my family, my extended family, with my Ireland family, and like generational wealth happened. Like we connected on 3 or 4 different generations. That's like cool. Little 2 9-month-olds hanging out in a crib. One lives in Ireland, one lives here. So that connection was made. So pretty exciting for me. And yeah, great to be back. Got this shirt and these hand-painted Irish socks.
Let's go.
Rocking those today.
You know I'm 25% Irish too, so I can't even imagine. I got 26 cousins as well, so I can't imagine bringing everybody together. And we've got the 3-4 generations now too, so I'm sure that was just a huge bucket list for you guys.
Unbelievable. Yeah, 24 years in the making, thinking, and just finally just said, you know what, pull the trigger, do it, make it happen, and did that. It was a lot of fun. I recommend it.
Yeah, well, awesome. Guys,
you said your family's got a bar over there, right?
Yeah, my great-grandfather had a bar called Donahue's. Donahue's, but it was back in the day. He was like, he told my grandpa, who told my dad, who told me, it would be the thing where the guy would just go for a weekend trip and he'd just leave the keys there and say, hey, take care of the bar for the weekend. And you can't really do that today.
No, probably not.
So times
Although
have
I
changed.
bet you times have not, I bet they've changed, but I bet you can still do that in Ireland. If
maybe.
It's a little tiny
safer than America.
Just funny, O'Donoghue's. Some of my guys have a nickname for me. They call me Donnie, and that's because one of the guys who came on board thought my name was O'Donoghue instead of O'Donnell.
Oh, really?
And everyone else thought that was funny, and they started calling me Donoghue and then Donnie. So maybe we're related.
We probably are. That makes sense why we're such homies, man. And again, like, guys, this is our 3rd podcast, and so we want to get right into it. Our goal is for this to be the most positive interview that the solar industry has ever seen, because there's a lot of negativity going on right now. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and I really want to just add as much value as we can for the industry. I know your heart's in that kind of place as well, and so to get it started, Maude, I'd love to hear, what do you think about what's going on right now with the election? How is it going to affect our industry? Yeah. Kamala Harris, obviously, she's a big supporter of the new Green Deal.
Is there an election going on?
There's an election going on.
Is there anything going on around that?
And I told myself, you know what I told myself this year? I said, I'm not going to pay attention to anything. But then the president got assassinated. Biden kind of stepped down, which, you know.
Attempted assassination,
which offers the question, it's crazy, right? Just raised his ear. But it offers the question, is Biden even capable to make the executive decisions over the next, 6 months? It's like, there's a lot of decisions that have to get made over in that time, right? But either way, we're in unprecedented times, and I'd just like to get your feedback for everybody on how does the election this next year affect our industry? Is it going to make it easier to sell solar? Is it going to make it tougher to sell solar? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, one thing is clear. There's a tremendous amount at stake. We're talking power, money, policy, and things are in the midst of massive amounts, tectonic changes. To have a president not run for a second term, I mean, that hasn't happened since 1968 when LBJ, in the middle of the Vietnam War, decided not to run for a second term. So to see that happen again is not unheard of, but literally it's a once in a every other generation thing. So crazy happenings going on there. Like, this is crazier than fiction, right? To think about, you know, a sniper 140 yards away, getting a piece of Trump's ear, and then massive pressure after that debate to step down, and finally massive more pressure after him not stepping down. Finally, this last Sunday, he does step down. So another tectonic shift in what's going on in our landscape. Why does that matter to us? And people ask me all the time, why do I tune in and listen to MOD? And he's like, sounds like we're on Meet the Press. I'm trying to be talking about, when I'm in someone's kitchen table, I'm trying to be talking about the things they're hearing on the news. Because they're going to go, you know what, I just heard about that. And the stuff they're hearing on the news has a massive to do with what we're doing. Every single one of us is in the solar business right now, currently, because of the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. If that wasn't there, I think maybe 6 of us would still be in the solar business, right? But they did get that passed. That was a Biden initiative. Most people don't realize that he was trying to get a big kitchen sink deal done, right? The infrastructure bill, he got that done, but he was trying to get the big kitchen sink deal. What did he call it? I don't know, something, money for everybody, right? He tried to get that $3 trillion bill passed. It failed. In the process of failing, they went back and saved one thing for the Democrats to run on last, 2 years ago for the midterm elections. And the one thing they got was our thing. They went back and got the Green New Deal, AKA the IRA, AKA $1.2 trillion for basically solar and other renewable projects. So that's why we're in the business. That's why we're at someone's kitchen table. That thing did pass. We are handing out $10, $15, $20,000 per family. We're getting that money delivered to families so that they're able to utilize it. That's huge stuff. So if I'm talking to a customer, if I'm talking to a new recruit, I'm talking to somebody who's learning how to sell solar, there's a couple things I'm always going to be talking about. Is one, why is this going on? Because that's relative to the customer, right? So the customer's going to hear me talking about stuff that's going on in the news. So what's going on in the news now is an election. So we're going to, what are we, just a few months away? Unbelievable amounts at stake. And I find myself conflicted, right? I'm a Biden Democrat. You're talking about a conservative Republican my whole life. And I'm like, oh, thank God Biden won because he got that IRA passed. And then at the same time, I'm conflicted because if the Democrats are in charge much longer, will we even have an economy for people to buy shit in? And that's, I think the problem that we're all experiencing right now is the word consumer confidence used to be an index, and now it's an oxymoron. Those two words don't belong adjacent to each other. And I know we want this to be positive, but I gotta tell you, that's not a positive experience when you're trying to sell a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 system to someone who is afraid that maybe this isn't not only a great economy, but perhaps we're in the end times. Maybe this is biblical. The shit going on right now is so crazy, it seems biblical. And maybe this is, literally the end times. And should I be making this investment? At Sun Solar Solutions, we are, we're experiencing some real struggles in a lot of ways. And thank God, our sales are not only, even with last year, but up just a little bit. We're working a lot harder to have our sales be, even with where they were a year ago. And one of the reasons is our percentage of doors knocked to how many appointments, and then appointments set to appointments sit, those numbers are tougher. And that's because we're standing at the door talking to people who know, yeah, dude, I don't want to want a $50,000 thing. And if you come over here and you show it to me, I'm going to want it. And I really don't want to want it. So no, get away from my door. Oh, wow, that does sound interesting. Yeah, bring me a quote. You said what? Yes, we're going to look at a 50,000. No, we're not buying some big thing. Call that solar company, tell them to cancel that appointment. That's like an epidemic. Mm-hmm. And so that's a struggle. We're constantly struggling with that. That has to do with consumer confidence, with high interest rates, high inflation, low confidence. It's tough to knock on doors selling $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 things. It just is. Now, it still works. And here's the good news. It works as good as it always has. Our closing ratio is probably better than it used to be because all the reasons that people are afraid to want something, once they look at it, they're going to know, oh my God, if I just have to go solar. All of the things that I'm afraid of, there's almost nothing I can do. And here, I'm sitting with somebody showing me something I can do. It costs me no money. It costs me nothing out of pocket. I'm immediately going to have more money in my budget, in my cash flow, and maybe there's not a ton of savings, and solar guys running around going, hey, it's going to save you a lot of money, and then we come back with a proposal that's similar to what they're paying now. But this is the one thing they can do where they're going to change the needle. They're going to move the needle. They're going to change their outlook. They're going to improve their security. They're going to increase their peace of mind. There's nothing. There's no lever for them to push that improves that situation. And here we're showing up with going, no money, no risk, no nothing. You just got to go like, hey, I got to switch my monthly electric money over to this thing, and all of a sudden I have this horizon where the primary thing that's going to increase like out of control crazy, I can put a lid on that thing. I can get in control of this thing that's going to drive me out of my house in the next 5 years. Like, yes, I'm going to do it. We're selling as much solar as we ever had when we get the appointment to sit. But I got to tell you, when we knock on a door and go, hey, we want to come and show you an expensive thing in your mind, even though it doesn't cost you any money out of your pocket, in your mind, this is a big expensive purchase. People are not happy to see us, you know. It's a tough task. It's a tough service to show up on somebody's door and have them start there and end up with solar on the roof and way better off for it.
I think myself and a lot of people watching this right now are probably asking the next question, which is, yes, I am dealing with an extreme amount of homeowners that I'm talking to them about solar, and then I set the appointment, and the cancel rate for not even sitting down, right, is through the roof.
It's crazy. It's an epidemic.
What are you saying on the doors? What advice do you have for these reps so that they can set more appointments? Because I think in solar, there's two sales.
We're not setting more appointments. We're setting less appointments for the same amount of hours. The numbers are harder. But once we get to the kitchen table, it's just as good. So we're having to put more work in. And one of the things we're having to do is compensate setters better. We're having to change. It's taken a lot more work to get one sale. But the sales guys who are running those appointments, they're making just as many sales. So we're realizing there's a shift that's taking place. And you know, you hear different things in the industry of people going, oh, 50-50 and all kinds of stuff. Basically, what the market is telling us is there's more work involved to get one appointment, to get one sit. Once we get the sit, man, we're golden. So that's one of the things that we're changing. But what has to be said on the doors, and what I'm saying on the doors is go solar or else.
New book?
Yeah, the new book, right? Go solar or else. And that's a threat. Right? Go solar or else. It's a threat, but it's also a promise. We're in the midst of literally a massive change. When you think about humanity getting all of their energy by burning stuff, you know, gathering firewood, and then we discovered rocks out of the ground that light on fire, coal, and getting gas and sludge, oil, and we just light this stuff. We get all of our energy from lighting stuff on fire, and that's been growing until today. And we're now at a period where that's going to just go over a cliff and go, you know, it'll never get to zero, but it's going to head from, you know, the most amount of stuff we've ever burnt to we're going to start dramatically burning a lot less stuff, and that's because of the Green New Deal. And that's because the government is going to force them to do that. And they don't know this, right? I just had a post on my Instagram and TikTok go to like 2 million views.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I get lots of views, but I don't get 2 million views on a post. One just went to 2 million views because I'm talking about the fact that pretty much everybody's going to end up with an electric car. And people don't want to think that. And they don't know that that's true. And people are like, we're not getting an electric car. Like, yeah, you are, because the price of gas is going to double. And when the price of gas doubles, you're going to go from spending $3,000 a year to go 15,000 miles to spending $6,000 a year to go 15,000 miles in a 20-mile, you know, per gallon car. If you do it today, it's only going to cost you, if you're paying, you know, 15 cents for solar, you're going to pay about $750 for that same energy. $750 or $3,000, like, that's enough. But $750 or $6,000, or God forbid it doubles and doubles again and goes to 12,000, like, dude, you're driving an electric car then. Yeah, we'll never get to 100%, but that's because you're going to keep your 68 Mustang in a garage. But you're going to drive that once a year, and it's going to cost you a couple $100 to do it.
Crazy.
So, and by the way, if you were to get that same car, 15,000 miles, powered by solar, you know, if you take an average solar system, pay cash for that system or pay that system off, say you buy a system for cash, amortize that over 25 years, you're going to find you're paying about 5 or 6 cents per kilowatt hour. Now you're paying $350 a year for the same amount of power today that costs $3,000.
Insane.
You're going to be driving an electric car. The post had to do with the fact that all of our, and I said all, you want to get a TikTok to go viral, say something that you adamantly are convinced is 100% true, that's only 92% true, and you'll have thousands of trolls telling you, how dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I said all of the money for roads comes from the gas tax, right?
Yeah.
And essentially it does. The gas tax was invented in 1919 because people started buying cars and they wanted roads to drive cars on. So they said, well, I know, we'll just tax the gas and we'll use the money from that to build roads. Well, we've been doing that ever since, but it's not 100% anymore. And that's because places like New York and New Jersey, they siphon off some of it to pay for like mass transit. So in New York, for example, they have about 50 cents a gallon, 18 cents of that is federal gas tax, and then they got another, like 30 cents from the state gas tax. $900 million, which is about half of their road budget. Not all of it. I was wrong about that. Like I said, you want a lot of viralness, say something wrong. And so on Instagram, on YouTube, just say something that's a little bit wrong. So it isn't all, it's like in New York and New Jersey, it's only half. Most places, 70-80% of the money to build roads comes from the gas tax, right? And probably 70 to 80% of the money to pay for the roads comes from the gas tax. Some of it, yes, does come from other places. But what I was saying is, what are we going to do? As we go from, around 10% of the cars on the roads being electric to 50, 80, 90% of the cars being on the road, where is the money to build the roads going to come from? Well, it's going to shift from the gas pump to the electric pump. Where's the electric pump? It's your electric bill. So all of this money we think that, the price of electricity is going to go up. These cars are going to change like in a massive crushing way the supply and demand equation for how much electricity. When we need 270 million cars powered by electricity on the road, all coming off the grid, that's going to change the supply and demand equation. Supply and demand is what changes pricing. And so pricing on electricity is going to change. But not only that, we got to move these billions and billions of dollars that pay for the roads that we build and repave every year. We got to move that over so that that's included in the electricity. That's going to change the equation and change the cost of electricity, which is why I know you got to go solar or else. We're going to have massive more cost to pay for electricity. We're going to double the price of electricity much, 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 much faster than we have over time. Traditionally, it's taken about 15 years to double the price of electricity. Every 15 years it doubles, just slow enough to just not make people freaked out.
Yep.
But it's going to double like in the next 5 to 7 years, which is going to freak people out. I know that. I can demonstrate that. I can prove that with conviction to a customer, and they're going to go, oh my God, I have to go solar or else.
That's it. That's one word track that the guys can use on the doors, all the girls can use on the doors. We're going to get some more word tracks out of you too, because we love doing these podcasts. Last time you were talking about, hey, the homeowners are sucking on a lollipop. We started saying that on the doors.
Get that lollipop, toss that lollipop in the door.
People love that. People love that.
Dude, I'm good. Dude, you're not good.
Yeah. One thing I love about you is that you've done this for a while, right? You've been in solar.
Started selling solar in 1984.
Which is, so cool. And
I come by this gray hair.
Gives you legitimacy.
Absolutely, legitimately.
So, I think a lot of reps look at solar as a short-term play. They're going to go in here, make a bunch of money, invest in real estate, knock doors, buy doors, and then get out. So my question is, how can reps look at this as a long-term career versus just a short-term play? Like, where's solar going to be in 5 years?
I don't have a crystal ball. Do you have a crystal ball?
No.
Okay, so we don't have a crystal ball. So what else can we use? We can use a lot of the elements.
But if you say you do, then you'll go viral.
I have a crystal ball. Hold on, let me consult the crystal ball. What's going to happen is not necessarily great news for all of us. Here's the good news. We're at the very, very beginning, about 5 million homes. We just crossed over the 5 million home mark. There's about 65 million homes that need solar. And one of the bad things about solar, they don't need one every 5 years. Like, they're going to buy it and they're going to be set for the next 25, 30 years. They're going to have a solar system. So we're not going to sell 5 solar systems to the same house. So there's only about 65 million homes that need a solar system. We're at about 5 million homes so far. Now that's cumulative. So from the beginning of solar, and let's call it 2010, there were a few systems sold before then. Solar was $10 a watt in 2010. So 10 kilowatt system was $120,000. Now there was 40%, 30% tax credit. A lot of utilities had another 30% tax credit or some kind of credit from the utility. So the numbers, they've morphed over time. But at the end of the day, we know that's what we're dealing with, right? So in 2010 till today, all of us collectively have sold about 5 million solar systems. By the way, about a year and a half ago, that number was 3 million.
I remember, yeah.
Yep, we talked about that. It was 3. Now it's 5. That's a lot of solar systems. We sold 50% again as much solar in the last year and a half as we did the entire from the beginning of time till now. Well, between now and just 2030, to meet our commitments, in the Paris Climate Accord and the government's commitment to reduce our carbon emissions by 50% by the end of the decade. That's the EPA's mandate. They're in the process of making that happen. They're telling power plants that they need to reduce their emissions by like 90% in the next 5 to 7 years. Whoa, that's going to change. So at the same time, we need a massive more supply. We're going to choke off, or massive more demand. We're going to choke off the supply, because you can't burn coal and get the thing down 90%. So literally, they're going to kill coal. That's going to change the pricing. That all of that is all coming to play. So, but in the next 6-7 years, we need to get from 5 million homes to 30 million homes. We need to 6x the amount of solar that's ever been sold in that period of time. Now, here's the bad news. That'll put us at about 50%. People run around now and go, oh, solar is saturated. Oh, I miss the good days. Show me a neighborhood that's not saturated. Show me a neighborhood that's not saturated. I'll show you a neighborhood that probably doesn't work very well for solar. So all these solar guys running around blitzing all over the world. I'm looking for that place where there's no solar. Like, dude, I want a home. I want a neighborhood that's about, 10% solar. Why? Because now it just looks like you're stupid if you don't have it. There's no way 10% of your neighbors are just batshit crazy. Mm-hmm. They're not all granola people. Come on, like none of them are granola people. They all went solar because of the numbers. How the hell are you thinking it's a good idea to not know the numbers? Like, bro, really? Like, it's not a good idea to not know the numbers. I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna come back with numbers. And like, you're gonna be way better off because you've seen and know these numbers. Are you going solar? I don't even know if the numbers will indicate you should go solar. Mm-hmm. But you sitting over there going, I'm ignorant. Mm-hmm. I don't know what solar costs. I don't know what the down payment is. I don't know what my electricity would bill. I don't know what the government's going to give me. I don't know what my savings is going to be over the next year, 5 years, 10 years. I don't know how much my electric bill is going to cost me if I don't. You don't know any of that. And I'm going to come back and just like lay a 4-page report on you that shows you all that, and you're going to tell me, I'm just thinking ignorance is better. Like, bro, ignorance is not better. Mm-hmm. We're going to fix you being ignorant. Whether you go solar or not, like, I don't even care. I'm going to show solar to 10 people in the next 4 or 5 days, and like 7 or 8 of them are going to go solar. I don't care about the 2 or 3 that don't. You may not care about that, but at the end of the day, knowing the numbers, you're going to be way, way, way better off. And that's what I'm out there helping people understand. These things are changing. It's going to cause massive changes. You may not be able to afford your home. You need to go solar or else deal with the consequences of not going solar. And does that mean you're able to even live in this house?
Yep.
Will you be able to afford? You're worried about you're worried about what's going to happen if you move. The number one objection is, I don't know if I want to go solar. I'm going to move someday. You're goddamn right, you're going to move someday. They're coming to get you. Like either a U-Haul or a hearse is going to take you and all your crap out of this house, and then somebody else is going to own this house. My question to you is, will anyone buy it? If the electric cost and the utility fuel cost to power this home doubles in the next half dozen years and then doubles again in how many years after that, and you're trying to sell this house 15 years from now, and you like blew off the whole solar thing, you're like, yeah, I just told them I didn't want to know about it. And like, 50, 60% of the homes have solar, and the ones that don't aren't selling. I'm worried about you living in a house that doesn't have solar and nobody wants to buy it. You're fine, you're good, got your lollipop in your mouth, your McMansion, your 6,000, like, bro, I can afford the 8,000 bucks a year for electricity. Well, good for you, pal. By the way, if it goes to 16,000, will anyone buy this McMansion? Or are you gonna be dealing with this, disaster, this McMonster? No one's gonna want the damn thing. So, that's our job. We need to be fully aware of what those issues are and help people get it, because they don't get it right now, and that's our job. That's what we get paid for.
Yep, give them that aha moment. That really helps a lot with me, because I think that's the biggest objection that I personally get on the door is we're going to move. Mm-hmm. And reps say, how do I overcome this objection? Well, I'm like, hey, dude, hey, that's a good one.
You're right.
You just overcame it right there. You just overcame it right there.
100% you're moving. We know you're moving.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no chance you're staying in this house forever.
Yep.
To bring that back to what you're saying, where's solar going to be in 5 years, though? The other side of that equation is right now, guys that can help people get that are worth a lot of money, right? When you find a guy who can really help people get that at the door, that guy's worth a lot of money. Mm-hmm. When you got guys that are sitting at the door and they help people go, oh my God, if I don't go solar, I'm doomed. Mm-hmm. I gotta go solar. If you got people that can help them do that, and then of course they're gonna say, you're right, I'm doomed, and I do wanna go solar, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm definitely gonna go solar, but I'm gonna need to think about this for 2 or 3 days. Right. And you got guys who can help them go, oh no, I get it. It's in my interest to actually get this process started today, closers. When you get guys that can do that, they're worth a lot of money, okay? My concern is that in let's say 5-6 years from now, the electricity bills have all doubled. Are we going to need really high-powered, persuasive, convincing guys? Are we going to need to pay them $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 to help somebody get it? Or are they going to open up their bill and go, oh shit, where's that solar guy, right? And they're going to click on the button. And right now what we're dealing with is so many people, especially over the last couple of years, not as much right now, all that whole go virtual and all the data and people paying for all appointments and stuff, why they're thinking, why would I spend all day talking to 30 people that are not interested in solar? Why don't I just pay someone to put me into 3 or 4 appointments a day where they are interested in solar? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because nobody's pushing the button that says, please send a dozen solar salespeople at me in a projectile fashion to try to sell me solar. Like, everyone knows not to push that button. The people who are putting that button are a very, 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 very small percentage of the homeowners. And who we're talking to when we're knocking on doors is the other 99%. But over the next 5 years, as the electricity bills double, people aren't going to need us at their door as much to get them to push the button. And so the solar sale is going to look more like, as it matures, like no one needs to convince anybody they need a car, right? You got all the Toyota commercials and the Ford commercials and the GMC commercials. Those commercials are fighting for the market share from the people who already know they need cars. They already know they need cars. No one's convincing, why are you walking to work, pal? You need a car. Everybody knows they need a car. So 5, 6, 7 years from now, people are going to be going, I don't need someone to convince me I need solar. I'm going to open up my electric bill, and they're just going to look at our ads and our marketing, and they're going to connect to one of our guys in a call center, and they're going to get paid what car salesmen get paid. $750, $1,000 to handle a sale, be a good closer.
Which is still great.
This will be a great job, but maybe then you're selling 5 a day. Right, so maybe you're making $5,000 a day instead of whatever. But the point is, it's going to change. It's going to change dramatically.
Yeah, a lot of things are changing right now, and I'm sure you've seen it all. And it's the solar coaster. And right now, you're kind of talking about we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast that we're kind of in a dip right now. What do you see going on to get back up? What has to happen for solar to go back up?
Well, part of it is recognizing why are we in a dip? Why are we seeing publicly traded companies lose 80-90% of their value? Why are we seeing one big, gigantic publicly traded company go to like 50 cents a share or wherever they are and practically be out of business? Why are we seeing the titans of the industry all of a sudden out of business? And the problem is sales, right? The all of the issues surrounding how do we get a solar system, glass on the roof, all have to do with sales. And the problem is that solar salespeople have been running around knocking on doors forever, and we all grew up in solar. Well, I was before, but since 2015, running around knocking on doors selling solar. Hey, go solar, it's cheaper.
Right.
We're going to generate 30, 50, 80, 100, if you're in California, $120 a month in savings. Go solar because it's cheaper. Well, now we're running the numbers, and with higher interest rates, higher dealer fees, it's not necessarily cheaper. It might be $10 a month more. But if you don't know the essence of how solar is sold and you're running around going, hey, it's cheaper, and you're coming back and it's $8 a month cheaper, no one's going to buy a $50,000 thing because it's $8 a month cheaper. The honest truth is they were never buying it because it was $50 a month cheaper. That's just what we thought. They were buying it because they understood that it was a superior financial strategy, that it was a way to get your boat into a safe harbor while these stormy seas were coming. They understood that. That's why they went solar. I mean, you got a homeowner with $5,000 a month in bills, $10,000 a month in bills. Are they trying to save $50?
No.
Is that moving their needle? Hey, we're going to get you out to, Applebee's one more time a month. Oh, wait, not Applebee's. It costs $50 a month to take you and the kids through Wendy's.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Get you one more trip to Wendy's a month? You're going to go, so that's not the thing. That is not the thing.
I think what the thing is selling certainty in uncertain times. That's something we've been talking about. It's like you might be able to rely, our parents might have been able to rely on the grid, but we can't, right? You see what's going on right now.
Wow.
And what happens when the power goes out is you have to change your lifestyle, right? You can't charge your phones. You've got your grandkids, right? Like you're not going to be able to have AC. And what happens when that changes? And that's why you should go solar.
And the times are tough because that pitch of it's cheaper, it isn't there. And so you've got to actually learn how to sell solar in my MOD Sales Academy. That's what we've been been learning to do for a long time. I mean, it was always about it being a superior strategy, about bringing you independence, bringing you security, bringing you peace of mind, avoiding this tsunami that's coming. There's a literal tsunami coming. And what it has to do with is a complete change in supply and demand. They're going to cut off the supply. They're going to tax coal to literal death, while people are needing more and more and more electricity because they're going to need it for their car. And then, oh my God. I mean, if you start looking at what changes in the calculus of AI, I mean, what are we going to do to supply the electricity that's going to take? And if we're going to be the global leader and supplier of AI, that's going to take a lot.
Yeah.
Of
electricity. A lot of power. Yeah.
And it's going to whack out the supply and demand. This is literally a tsunami coming. And if there's a tsunami coming, you want to be over here in a safe harbor, right? And you want to be tied off. Just let that whole storm come, be over here, lock down your energy cost, have a dependable, reliable, independent supply of electricity. Have that backed up with the Powerwall 3. I mean, like, you and your family need to get this thing locked down. Why in the world? Like, if it costs a lot more, it might take a little bit of thinking, right? But if it costs the same or maybe a little bit less, like, dude, what are you even, like, why are we even still talking about this? Like, this is a way to get your family over here and out of the way of a tsunami. I mean, this is literally a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Oh, it costs $7 less? Now you're just making it weird. Why does it need to be less? It doesn't need to be less.
So that's one thing we've been talking about, but I think a lot of people, they want to hear some word tracks. So, and we were talking earlier, there's two types of sales. You got the sale with the closer, and that's pretty easy, right? You go in home, you show them how it works, and like you get in home, like they're going solar. But the first sale we got to make is the setter setting the appointment. So what would be your advice for setters, for the next half of 2024 to be able to get those appointments where they go, dude, I literally am not missing this appointment for the world.
If my lips are moving, there's something about urgency coming out of them. I'm constantly going to be talking about something that will create FOMO in yours. So, and what the mistake is that people make on the doors is that they think it's all about, bandwagoning, and I know your neighbor's puppies, and, your neighbor's puppies like me, and like, what I learned in the 20 years between selling solar the first time and selling it the second time, and it was my job to get a hold of chief information officers, vice president of telecoms. I was selling IT to Fortune 500 companies. It was my job. I was a high price setter, setting my own appointments to come in and make a presentation. And what I learned when I get a high level, high powered executive finally got through his assistant, through the receptionist, his assistant, his deputy, 3 of his, lieutenants, and I finally get that guy on the phone, and he's like, everyone around me says I need to take this call. What do you have to say to me? If I start going on and on about how much his neighbors like my puppies, like, dude, there's a problem. Like, when he says what, something better come out of my mouth. And number 1, it should be urgent. And number 2, profoundly important, like existential to what that guy's dealing with. And when I'm talking to that guy, hey, year 2K is coming up in literally 11 months, and your competitors have invested X so that they don't lose 40% of their market share and don't lose 40% of their market value. We're talking about your competitor just having done business with me, and what I've saved them is perhaps maybe $20 or $30 million. Urgency, massively important, existential to his job. That's what's coming out of my mouth. And we've got to do that same thing. And so, at Sun Solar Solutions, what we teach people to do is get on, when you finally get someone to open the door, it looks like someone with a brain that's operating, and they go, what? Like, you should have something to say.
And what does Michael O'Donnell say when they say what?
Something very urgent. Something very important, something very existential. And that's exactly what solar is. And so there is an urgency. So, let's figure out what's urgent right now. Well, the election's coming up. So right now the government's willing to pay for 30% of this system. What's going to happen if Trump wins this election and he says, drill, baby, drill? What happens when the Republicans take over the House and the Senate and they go, why do we got this $1.2 trillion sitting here on tap to hand out to people for solar systems? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's a bunch of BS. Right? Like, that money's sitting there ready for you now. If I were you, I would take it. right? So that's urgent, right? So here you have this opportunity, and there's a really good chance that opportunity is going to go away. So I'm always going to be something, something urgent. At Sun Solar Solutions, we're always talking to customers about what's going on with the utility. There's massive amount of urgency created by the utility. They're trying to they killed net metering here in 2017.
Yep.
Okay. So when I sold my first 2.5 megawatt year, that had to do with me running around going, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. Wait, hold on. It's not falling today. It's falling in 2 or 3 days. You have a chance to go solar today, and we can get you out of the way of this thing that's going to crush you. So massive urgency, massive amounts of, of problem solving, and then, literally getting you out of the way of an existential threat. So look to the utilities. What's happening with net metering? What's happening with the buyback rate? What's happening with how many homes can actually go solar in this neighborhood? Can 100% of homes go solar in a neighborhood? Could you sell everyone? Could you get a whole subdivision, sell 100%? No, you can't. The grid won't operate if 100% of the homes are solar. There has to be a balance of buyers and sellers at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And where are you going to find out where that limit is? I know where that limit is. I can demonstrate to a customer that the day after tomorrow, they may decide I need to go solar, and the answer is going to be sorry. We've already got the maximum number of homes solar allowable by state law, regulation, code, utility bullshit, whatever it is. So being able to get people's attention with something that's here today and gone tomorrow, and really getting their FOMO on fire, right? And the best 2 words you can ever use to do that are the word deadline and the word grandfathered in. and I'm always finding out, and by the way, there's always a deadline. If you want to get your money back out of the paycheck that they took this week, and you want to get that back this year, then you've got to go solar this year if you want to get that money back, because after December 31st, and by the way, it must be installed and operational on December 31st, or the money that came out of your paycheck this year, you're not getting that money. That money is gone. But if you can get solar and get operational before that date, boom, you're going to be able to go solar, and the money that came out of your check this week, they're going to hand it back to you. And that's going away. You maybe get next year's money if it doesn't go away. Are we still going to have the IRA next year? Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, we don't know. That's our favorite part. But I look back to our first podcast or second podcast, and you were giving us all the word tracks. We used them all in the doors. And so my biggest intention with today's podcast was really to just hear some positive things. And the positive thing is that we have another 30 million homes to go solar. Was it more? You said 60 million homes.
Yeah, we're going to 6x the number of sales from the beginning of solar in the next 5 or 6 years.
So this is absolutely...
I liked it when we had sold 3 million and we needed to get to 30 million by the end of the decade, because that was a Grant Cardone 10x. But it's 6X. Literally 6x the amount of sales from the history of ever between now and the end of this decade, which is about 6 years. Dude, that's a party.
Do you think it's possible by 2025 and 2026 that we could be at 15 million and just saying, hey, we have to double now? We just have to 2x. That's kind of the goal, right?
I mean, it would be fun to run those numbers. I know how much of that I'm going to sell, right? And I'm planning on the market share for Sun Solar Solutions in the states that we're in. But we're going to have to see. A lot of the guys that are big companies are just not even around anymore. Right? So, and that's a little scary, right? And not only that, I mean, dude, I'm talking with somebody today. He's like, dude, I got 70 deals in the pipeline, and I'm not getting paid on them.
Right.
And I think one of the things that we're learning, when you go through tough times, first of all, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So I'm working twice as hard to sell the same amount as I did last year, right? Well, what does that mean? That means I'm moving. I'm really, I'm traveling, I'm moving, I'm effective. When that tide starts coming back in, and I think that's where we are. I think we're right here. I think after the election, the economy is going to kind of straighten out a little bit. Maybe gas prices go up, energy prices. Right now gas prices are being constrained, so energy prices start going up. That's good for us. We'll see who wins and what the deal is. Either way, it's going to be big for us.
Who do you think will win the election?
Well, I mean, right now, it looks like Trump will win the election. I think that's Las Vegas thinks Trump is going to win the election. Of course, that was compared to Biden. And I think there's a lot of Democrats that would have had trouble pushing the button, no matter how Democrat they were, pushing a button for a guy they just don't think physically could do the job, physically show up every day for the 4 years. I mean, the 4 years is a long time, and I think it was clear that everyone was unbelievably concerned that he couldn't do it. But now they've got Kamala Harris, and
do you think she'll be the main running candidate?
She is the heir apparent. She is, going to be recommended. She is, going to be Joe Biden's. He is endorsed. She's going to be the inheritor of the $100 million he's got in the bank to run. So it's going to be really hard to have it be not her.
Wouldn't
so
they be
all the guys in the background, they're all pushing her forward.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that aren't a big fan of hers, and I don't even care what you think about her.
I don't think Obama even endorsed her, though.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. I think he's probably kind of maneuvered her to be there. So he has supported her for a long time. I don't think there's any way she could have ever won any election.
Yeah.
And so she was maneuvered to be vice president, and now all of a sudden she's now the vice president, and she's now inherited the Democratic nomination. Probably we'll see what happens in the next few weeks to see if she is in fact nominated as the. I don't see anybody being able to overcome that.
That guy J.D. Vance that just got the VP.
He's VP for Trump.
He had a movie on Netflix. I just watched it.
Hillbilly Elegy.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Phenomenal story.
His character's in the movie. It's about his family. So
he saw the movie. He had a tough upbringing.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And what didn't kill him made him stronger, and now he's vice president candidate for the United States. That's a pretty big deal.
Goes to show anything is possible,
Yeah. You know what? The election's going to happen. Someone's going to be president, and then we're all going to wake up on November 5th or 6th
12th,
and go to work, man. We're going to go to work. And things are going to change. They're going to continue to be different. But every day I meet in a mastermind. My no matter what call every day, 8 o'clock. My MOD Sales Academy call, the no matter what call every day. That mastermind is preparing us for this time, right? Mm-hmm. Every day we're crunching those word tracks. Every day we're looking at the incoming information. Every day we're getting what everybody else is experiencing on the doors, and we're mashing that up together. I'm very confident that the people who intend to continue to stay on the top of the game and are willing to do the work to do that are going to be able to do that. But, Warren Buffett just said, a rising tide lifts all boats, and he came up with the corollary of, but when the tide goes out, you find out who was swimming naked. Mm-hmm. And are you swimming naked? Are you swimming naked? Man, I'm working twice as hard to sell the same amount. When that tide comes in, man, I'm going to take off like a shot, man. I'm going to be on this power, off we go, right? So, and I think that's where we are. I think we're down in this tranche and we're here, but where we're going is here. But this is a very, very big story. This is we're at the very beginning of a big story. Humanity burning stuff for how many 100 million, whatever, billion years, whatever that is. And then today, 2024, we're turning the curve, and we're going to start getting most of the new energy we need from green sources. And homeowners, I liken it to the 1776. We had a mastermind of guys who met in Philadelphia, and they're like, we don't want to be under tyranny. We're going to send this guy George a letter. Mm-hmm. And they sent him a letter, and they go, we're just going to handle it ourselves. We don't need you. And George is like, that's not going to fly. I'm sending over the Red Coat Army. We're going to crush you like a bug. Go solar or else is the Paul Revere. Hey, man, the British are coming, man, down the street coming, right? Not like theoretically coming, we can see them, they're coming, they're here. And so to have that same level thing, this is the beginning of a story where we stop getting our energy from where we be getting it, and we start doing this. So the mastermind, I liken it, 1776, we want this independence, we want to make this shift. Dude, that was like a 12-year war, and it was not a fun war. You ever seen that famous painting with George Washington, and he's, standing up in the boat, and they're going across this river full of ice chunks and stuff? Do you want to be on that boat? Dude, I don't want to be on that boat in this cold as shit rain and weather and coldness, and you're going across a boat to jump into some, fight with redcoats with guns. That does not look like a fun place. And I kind of feel like that's where we are, right? Mm-hmm. But what's on the other side of this mastermind? What's on the other side of this war? And this is a war. There's going to be different billionaires on the other side of this war. Right, we're growing a lot of billionaires, 100 millionaires. There's going to be different billionaires on the other side of this thing, because all of the billionaires that are there now all got there by exploiting cheap energy. Some of them will figure out how to become billionaires and keep their billions or whatever in the new thing. But the new billionaires are going to be the people who exploit the fact that the energy coming is free. Right? What are we going to do? Think about the internet, right? We're like, this internet thing, this guy wants to be the biggest bookseller on the internet. Are we going to need books during the internet? After the internet, won't the internet replace books? And you got Jeffrey Bezos who's like, no, man, it's more than that. This is a big, long story. He went through the internet, bubble boom, and, it took him another, years and years and years for the internet to start to pick up. And that was a long, long tranche. And I hope the solar tranche isn't that long. But think about the fact that everyone on planet Earth went from a state where it cost a lot of money to communicate with someone on the other side of the other side of the state, let alone the other side of the country or the other side of the globe. Like, a 30-minute phone call would cost you $180 if you're talking to someone in Japan, and then overnight it was free.
Yeah.
Overnight it was free. Like, everyone can talk to everyone for as many minutes as they want, and nobody gets a phone bill. Like, that's got to change some stuff. And here we are, we're at the beginning of this thing where we're like paying $5 a gallon, and X cents a kilowatt hours, and the price going up, and energy's expensive. Energy's a burden. Energy is this, how do we solve this? Energy, it's getting more expensive. And we're going through like this, like the revolution, man. That was like a 12-year war. What was on the other side of that 12-year war? America.
Yeah.
Freedom. Independence. Like, that's what's on the other side of what we're doing. This is tough, it's gonna be hard, but what's on the other side? Literally free energy. Every family in America having free energy. Like, that's gonna be good for them. And if we can convince them now to start that process today, we're gonna have provided a service that's worth 7 figures. If you can talk a couple hundred people a year into doing that, and a couple hundred people a year, is that like hard? I mean, it's just like, if you're determined to sell a couple hundred of these a year, that's a 7-figure, income, a 7-figure opportunity. Every one of us has a 7-figure opportunity, and we're going to have that for about, I would say, 5 years. And there'll be a lot of money made after that, but not per deal, because of guys who can get into a conversation and have someone go, oh, yeah. How come I'm not? Yeah, no, I'm not shopping for solar. No, I'm not interested in solar. And what you just said, I don't know why that's true. I don't think it is true. No, sure, I'll take a look at some numbers. Yeah, bring the numbers over. I mean, why wouldn't I look, for crying out loud? And that opportunity to use that as a gold rush, man, again, Warren Buffett, largest transformation of wealth in the history of mankind is going on right now. And we're not the one who's transferring it to. Now, if you own a solar company and build it up and sell it off, and maybe we get you to 9 figures, 10 figures or whatever of net worth. But the guys who we're out there selling it, we're getting paid a 7-figure income to sell a couple hundred of these a year. That's not that hard, man. 2 a week is a $500,000 income. 4 a week is $1 million a year. Like, can't you just decide to do that? Can you just reverse engineer that number? Okay, so what do I got to do 4 a week? I can do that. I think I can figure that out. And and you know what? If you do that and sell 4 a week, 200 a year, like, the federal government, the world, the planet, your community, your business, your company, the customers, they're all going to be like, bro, good job, man. Like, you got paid 7 figures because you were worth 7 figures. We want you to make 7. The federal government wants you to make 7 figures, man. The incentive's not for the customer. The 30% incentive is for us. People wonder why solar pays so much. It's because the government is supplying the money to incentivize us to spend every moment of our waking consciousness figuring out how to sell a couple hundred of these a year. And then you get to make a 7-figure income, and you'll be one of those guys that 5 years from now, you're hanging out with me on a yacht in the Mediterranean going, let's go. Dude, we made that. We took advantage of that time. We weren't sleeping. Yep. We didn't let that shit go by. We're not going to have some story. I was there and I don't know what I did, but I missed it. I woke up after smoking weed for 5 years and it was over. Someone pulled the plug out of the wall on the jukebox, and now I work in a call center with a headset around my neck, and I wish I'd have paid attention when they were going, no, now is the time, man.
So my biggest takeaways from this, first of all, is that the election doesn't matter. Whoever wins, we're going to go back to work the next day. We're going to keep selling solar.
There's nothing either one of them can do about the fact that not even an army can stop an idea whose time has come. We all know it's time. We're going to stop burning stuff, and we're going to start using free energy. It's already, we don't even need an incentive. It's already, if you were to look at solar without a subsidy, it already crushes coal. If you were to, RFK Jr. is a great guy to listen to, and he's not going to win the election, I'm sure, it doesn't look like, but if you listen to him talk about energy, if we were to make consumers pay the actual cost of what it takes to burn rocks and make energy, and then also clean up the shit that comes out of it, it'd be about $3.41 per kilowatt hour.
Wow.
And solar's a nickel.
Yeah.
You can't stop that.
Yep.
That's happening. These guys can turn the dials on drill baby drill or this subsidy or that subsidy, but you can't stop that. We don't need anything for solar to pencil out anymore. It just does pencil out. And that's because the cost of not doing solar is going, how do you overcome objections? It's really easy to overcome objections. go solar or else. I don't like the way solar looks. That doesn't matter. I don't want to drive an electric vehicle. That doesn't matter. You're going to be driving an electric vehicle and your solar panels are going to power your home and your vehicle for all of your energy needs and your transportation needs and then all of your business needs. That's all. If it's available and it's free, what the F? Like, we're just going to go, nah, I'll just, I'm going to pull the wagon. I'll go to work. I'll make all this money. I'll hand it over to the utility company. Why would I keep doing that? I don't know. But I don't have to learn anything new. So I'm good. I got my lollipop. Yeah. I'm fine.
Throw it in the dirt. Oh,
I would prefer to stay ignorant about that if it's okay with you. Sorry, bro. It's not okay with me. I'm going to tell you shit right now that whether you say yes or no to the appointment, as I walk away, you're going to go, man, I thought it was good. I'm not good.
Yeah. And the other takeaways is just, you got to build the urgency. You have to have the urgency. You have to have your ass on fire every single freaking day. Too many people are lackadaisical. And guys, this is still a phenomenal job for the next 5 years. There's a lot of people right now, unfortunately, unless they're bad actors that are leaving the industry, right? People are getting away. They think solar stuff. They think solar saturated. They're getting to insurance. And so, guys, there's no doubt in my mind, especially after this conversation with Mod, our third one, that solar is here to stay. We've got 5 years. There's still going to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millionaires created, and it's something where I went from being an English teacher, watching your training, getting plugged in, and I was able to earn 7 figures. Life changing, right? And now we're helping other people do that too. But
if you can do it and I can do it, I'm not going to say everyone can do it,
right?
But we're reasonably talented guys. There's a lot of reasonably talented guys.
Yeah.
If you can figure out how to apply yourself to this solution to solve this problem. Dude, people are going to be cheering from the rooftops for you to make $1 million. They're not going to be going, oh, they're selling stocks to little old ladies and scamming them. They'll be going no, this dude's moving the needle on how much better off the planet is, and just go, baby, go. Dude, bro, you took advantage of it. You knocked it out of the park, and that's what this job pays. Yep. My book is called No Matter What, right? And it's the recipe for a 7-figure income. I'm trying to advertise that book, and I had advertisers and credit card companies going, oh, is this a scam? We're trying to scam people to, if you do this, you're gonna make $1 million. No, that's what this job pays. People are going to sign up at the MOD Sales Academy for sales training so they can make 150 grand.
Right.
You're going to make 150 grand if you suck and don't work in solar. I have people telling me, I made 150 grand. I don't know how anyone could make 150 grand a year selling solar. You just have to not show up 98% of the time or something like that. So it doesn't really make sense. And literally I had advertisers go or advertising credit card platforms going, this is some sort of blah, blah. No, man, that's why people want to buy the training. That's why they want to buy the book, because this job pays that kind of money.
I think part of it too is you have that vision in your first book, which I read 3 times. You talk about building the frame, building the door that they're going to walk through, but you talk a lot about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Are you implementing that into your next book too, with the vision component?
Dude,
of
I'm living it. Every single day. What people don't understand about, everyone knows they should read Think and Grow Rich, they should get it, they should understand. But until you're in a mastermind, and a mastermind is not a seminar.
Yeah.
A mastermind is a group of people who are dedicated to each other to build that framework where the actual magic happens, the idea, the energy, the information, the frequency. And I'm doing that every day at 8 o'clock in the morning with dozens and dozens of guys every day. And I'm the one who's benefiting the most from that mastermind is me. Every day I get shit out of there. I'm man, I know what I'm going to say today, because it's the product of that mastermind. Where all of that comes true. So, getting that information and being dedicated to that, the generational wealth, what I was thinking, every Friday, just this morning, we did Financial Freedom Friday. That's the theme on Fridays on the No Matter What call. Generational wealth, me being back in Ireland, that generational wealth is happening. People think it's not okay to want stuff. It's the wanting stuff that gets you, and it's not stuff, it's wanting what you want. It's what do you want to have to be true in your life? And it's not stuff, it's not a jet, it's not a yacht, it's having an experience on the Mediterranean. I was just in the Mediterranean with about 35, 40 guys, me and Sam Taggart, and what happened on the Mediterranean on that yacht, that's what I wanted. And you can't have it unless you're with 30, 40 guys on a yacht in the Mediterranean. So, it's figuring out what you want. That's what's going to drive you to do the work that's needed so that you can have the results. When you're obsessed, I was listening to Joe Rogan talk this morning. He was on a podcast with Jordan Peterson. I love listening to Jordan Peterson every time.
It's kind of crazy that we got to meet him at Sam's event.
I've met him twice. I got to meet him twice. I've got to hear him in person twice. And I just kind of listen to him regularly. He just started the Peterson Academy. I'm ahead of him. I already had an academy. So the MOD Sales Academy been up for a couple of years. Jordan Peterson is just getting his Peterson Academy off the ground. I would love to be, one of the lecturers in the Peterson Academy. But the whole thought pattern about what's changing and how to take advantage of it. It's unbelievable. I'm so excited. I literally cannot sleep. But what's going to cause you to do the work, and what Joe Rogan was saying, he was talking about martial arts, he says, I didn't need discipline. I'm not a disciplined guy. I do that call every day because it jumpstarts the obsession every day. If you're obsessed, you don't need discipline, right? Discipline is to get you to do stuff that obsessed people are doing anyway. You talk about training for a fight. If you're obsessed, no one has to get you to do that stuff, right? You just want to do it. And so how do you get yourself to act like you have discipline when you're like me and don't have any? You've got to reignite that obsession every day, and that's what happens in my MOD Sales Academy every day. I just started every day.
I kind of just had something happen there too. Somebody challenged me to a $10,000 bet to get a six-pack.
I would dude, you look like a whole different human. Than the one I saw a few months ago. I like your facial structure's different. You're just lean and mean and what's going on there?
Yeah, somebody made a bet with me to get a six-pack. They said, I don't think you can do it. They said, I've known you for 2.5 years. I've seen you making all this money and doing all this stuff, and put your money where your mouth is. I want to take your money. That's what he told me. He said, I'm going to take your money. And I said, yeah, let's take the bet. So within 90 days, I completely cut out sugar. Did you know, by the way, that people today eat more sugar in one day than our ancestors used to eat in a year?
Inflation. Sugar inflation.
There you go. The sugar inflation act.
Do you know that the whole Manhattan Project was double the cost overrun at $1 billion and reached $2 billion to achieve the most complicated thing in the history of mankind? I'll let it to others to decide if that was a good thing or not. But to learn how to build that atomic energy and weapon. And today, the Secret Service, who couldn't keep one guy from getting shot out, spends $3 billion a year. $3 billion a year to run the Secret Service. The Manhattan Project did something that mankind couldn't fathom for $2 billion. So that's the difference in inflation. So did you win the bet?
It's tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to be hanging out with, Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment.
Of course.
We're going to get to hang out with him.
Are you kidding me?
Do a sales tip with him. And
I love his podcast.
Yeah, Valuetainment. He was just on Joe Rogan last week too. Patrick Bet-David, but phenomenal, influential speaker, author, and businessman. And now he's going to war against CNN and Fox, and he's trying to be bigger than Fox and CNN with his PBD podcast. And so, your network is your net worth. And so, I mean, with you being in my network, it's always a pleasure.
So you're going to win that $10,000 bet?
There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, I don't like to lose. I like to win. And so you're talking about obsession. I think to have a goal, you got to have a specific goal, which mine was to have a six-pack. I've never had a six-pack. I'm 29, right? And it's kind of crazy.
Dude, you're kind of reminding me that my big claim to fame is you don't have to have a six-pack. To sell a lot of solar. But I wish I did have one. You might have to bet me $10,000. That's another thing we have in common. I've had a bet for $10,000. That was with my partner, Troy. He says, O'Donnell, he and I would be fighting for top sales each year. And I just edged him out at the end of 2018. And he says, O'Donnell, 2019, we're going to have a bet. He says, I don't care. It could be for $1 on who gets top sales this year. I go, bro, I'll bet you, but it ain't going to be $1.
Right.
He goes, well, what do you want? And I go, well, I just sold 2.5 million watts of solar. I'm trying to think of something I couldn't just get if I want. But what would that be? And I'm thinking, you know what I want? I want to play in the World Series of Poker, $10,000 buy-in. I know there's no way in the world my wife's going to agree to me buying a $10,000 lottery ticket. But if I won it in a bet, so I said, let's do that. And he and I had a $10,000 bet. Whoever won the bet, the other guy was going to buy him into the World Series.
What was the timeline for that bet?
1 year.
So January 1?
1 year. And I did edge him out, and so he had to buy my ticket into the World Series bucket list check mark. So
we like checking bucket lists off.
That was it.
Yeah, you're doing that. You're going to Mediterranean. You're going to Ireland. What are other bucket lists that you want to accomplish over this next year?
Yeah, I'm going to own a private yacht in the Mediterranean, and my mastermind is going to take place from there every day in about 5 years. So that's going to happen, right?
So guys, you need to have a vision. You need to know that no matter what happens this year with the election, we're good. You got to build that urgency. And hey, You know, I like it when somebody challenges me. You like it when somebody challenges you. So guys, we want to challenge you. Go out there and be $1 million earner in the solar industry. It's still a phenomenal opportunity. You just have to get 2 a day, or two a week, or 4
2
a week.
a week to make $500,000 a year. And like, you know, 20% of the guys who work for me do that. That means 80% don't, by the way. So when I'm recruiting people, like 20% make $500,000 a year. That means 80% don't. Right. So not like I'm promising anybody a $500,000 income. And then every year we've got, you know, a couple, 3, 4, 5 guys that make a 7-figure income at Sun Solar Solutions, and that's just real. It's just, it proves the point, and that's what gives me the massive amounts of satisfaction and gratitude. It was one thing for me to learn how to do that, but to have guys on stage winning Golden Door Awards and my MOD Megawatt Awards, and seeing those guys do that and make, you know, big incomes, and having found that path and knowing I had something to do with it, that's where I get my big thrills.
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks for putting us on game as always, man. I'd like to just end it with, what is your message to that 20% that's going to go out there and make that $1 million and get those 4 sales? How do they reverse engineer it? How do they have that vision? How do they hold that mastermind? What does somebody have to do right now, wrapping up this Modcast 3.0 that we've done it we do this every fall. So next year, we'll have a new president. We'll be at maybe 7, 8, 10 million homes. Right. Who knows what's going to happen in the next year?
Well, you know, if you want to really be one of the people that really make a 7-figure income, I suggest you find someone that knows how to do that. Someone like yourself, somebody like me. Come and join a company that's good enough to handle that. One of the things I learned that I didn't know, right, was that I had been operating under, you know, the false assumption that I was selling 2 to 3 million watts of solar every year because I was just that good. It didn't occur to me that I was working for a company that made that possible. And it wasn't until I started talking about that and people were talking to me about their problems of, you know, just being in quicksand, and the more they sold, the slower they went. And I'm like, no, the more I sell, the faster I go. And I realized Sun Solar Solution was built to make good salespeople have great results. And so, you know, one of the heartbreaks of my life is to find people, convince them to join this, or they convince me to bring them on, and have that burning desire for that person to do well, and see the 80% that don't, man. The 20% that do, like, those guys are self-motivated. I remember I got a chance to meet John Maxwell. I was backstage.
Oh, cool.
I think I was backstage at RoofCon. Yeah,
you met John Maxwell though?
A couple times. We were backstage, and I was one of the speakers that day, and he was in the green room. But I got a chance. I thought, man, I'm just dealing with this constant heartache. You know, it's kind of like in my sobriety when you got guys that come into the 12-step program and you know their family, you know them, and you want them to get this, and you see them fail and go away and keep doing whatever that was. It's not good, and your heart breaks. And I have that experience here. Guys, I really want, you know, to do this and get it and have it. And you just find out over and over again, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And I said to John, what do I do about that? And he said, you know, a couple different things, but one, you know, stop looking for baristas and motivate them. You know, you need to find motivated people and inspire them to follow you to do this. And so that helped me a lot. So, you know, if you're someone that believes you have what it takes to make a 7-figure income and you just need the right vehicle, I feel really excited to tell people about my vehicle, Sun Solar Solutions, that if you want to learn how to make that kind of income, reach out to me and convince me you have what it takes, convince me you're that motivated, and we'll put you on a track, and we'll see you on stage picking up Megawatt Awards.
Let's go, guys. Get that Michael O'Donnell Mod Megawatt Award, and there's a lot of people that are doing it. Why not you? Right?
Let's go.
What did Jim Rohn say? Why not you? Why not now? You know, why not? There never was a better time, guys.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Yep. Right now, you guys can do it. So, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, this Modcast with Michael O'Donnell. This is our third part one. We've done this the last 3 years, which is crazy because, I mean, I remember watching you 4 years ago, and to just think how much this industry really has changed my life. And it's not even like the industry that's changed my life, but it's like the people that I've learned from that have taught me things that have changed my life, such as yourself. So, you guys all know.
It's great to meet someone who says they have what it takes, and you got my attention at that first time we met in San Diego.
Are you Will Ellermitz? You're like, what are you talking about? I'm Michael O'Donnell.
And I'm like, okay, we got some excited young dude, and I got great hope. And then a year later, and another year later, and you're doing it. You're making it real. You are legit, and it's just great to know you and get to do this with you and mark these milestones. It's just a privilege and an honor.
A lot can change in a year, guys. Don't underestimate what you can do in 6 months and overestimate what you can do in a year. Did I say that right?
Let's go.
Yeah, so guys, let's make it happen. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Follow Michael O'Donnell. We're going to put the link in here. Hopefully by the time we post this, when are you dropping your book?
My goal is to have it out by next SolarCon. I'm working on it right now. Go solar or else: the promise and threat of the Green New Deal.
Let's get it, guys. Go solar or else. We'll see you in the next one.